Hey there, I'm back again. This is like episode 2 of What Would This Be Like If It Were Actually Live? Well, I want to start off by saying happy anniversary to my late folks. This is April the 2nd, 2018, and were they still with us, my mom and dad would have been married 69 years today. May they rest in peace. Not, but someplace up there they're celebrating their anniversary. They probably went to, if there's a Red Lobster in heaven, that's where they are tonight, because that was the annual tradition every year on their anniversary was Red Lobster. And so anyway, and like I told you the other day, a couple of days ago, I'm sort of practicing here. This is just an experiment, because I keep thinking that it'd be kind of fun to do this live sometime or other, but I don't even know how to do it recorded yet. And I certainly don't know how to do it live. If it were live, there would be a chance over here on the screen, for people to be texting in their comments and things like that. And you know how that goes. So maybe I'll get to that point. I have issues with this program that I'm using here. This is like Windows Movie Maker, I think. Something that comes freebie on the computer. And it seems like it freezes up occasionally. All of a sudden it just stops for no apparent reason. I don't know if it's maybe not enough memory in my computer. I don't know what. But if all of a sudden it's like a giant splice in the middle of this thing, that means it stopped and I had to restart it. Okay, never know when that's going to happen. Like I said a couple of days ago, this is like totally random. I don't have anything scheduled to talk about. That's why I'm not going to talk for very long. It's just like whatever is going on. And being out here on a ranch, half of today was spent doing my income taxes, and it's going to be half of them tomorrow, and the next day, and all the way up to April 15th, I think. But the other half of the day was spent working on fences and things like that. We got to move some livestock around, so I had to change some fence posts and that kind of thing. So that's largely what I was up to for this afternoon. And I got to tell you that those of you who know me know that it's extremely hard for me to talk for very long without getting political, because let's say I'm a concerned citizen. Things that are happening in the news and on the political scene and that kind of stuff actually do matter to me. But I know how much everybody hates to listen to political talk, so I try my best to restrain myself from talking politics. And the other thing people hate to hear about is religion, and that's another thing that I am awfully prone to talking about if I get carried away. So rein me in if I start getting too religious or too political, all right? Everybody knows where I stand on politics, so I'll try to refrain from going too far into that. All right. Okay, well, I guess that's the end of this conversation then. Good night. No, okay. All right, what else is happening around here? We had a very nice Easter get-together yesterday at Brad and Francis's. That's my brother and his wife and their family. Had barbecue down there, had all kinds of folks that I hadn't seen in quite a while, family members and local neighbors showed up for that and everything, and it was really nice out there by their new pool. And so I'm not very social, as you probably know. I'm not antisocial. I just don't like crowds. 3 or 4 or 5 people together at one time is about as big a crowd as I want, and so I don't do very well in big crowds. But I did have fun at that one. It was nice. Food was good. This is not a zit, by the way, here, but this thing right here, It's not a zit. That a few weeks back I cut myself right there. I was chainsawing some brush out there, and I chainsawed into my face. No, I didn't cut it that way, but a big old cedar branch came flying back and hit me right in the face and cut it right there. And it bled like a stuffed pig for like hours, and then it took several days to ever get that to stop. So it's actually healing up pretty good now, but it still looks a little bit weird. So just so you don't think that I'm going back into adolescence again, that's not a zit. All right. So I was thinking, you know, if this were the subtitle, I guess, of this show, just like the last one, is "What if this were live? What could you do?" Well, you know, a live broadcast would be fairly simple for somebody to call me and actually be put on live. You could call on the phone here and put it on speakerphone, and then I could put it on there and actually talk to somebody. Same thing with the landline. I've got a landline over there. Most people who know me know what that number is. So you could call on that, and we could chit-chat back and forth. And then in the meantime, people could be typing in their comments over here, and we just have a gay old time. Oh, did I use the G word? I'm sorry. Kidding. I'm kidding. All right. We would have a fine time communicating with one another. Okay. So anyway, I mentioned the other day that I like to read books. Okay. I'm a history buff. I particularly am fascinated by very, very ancient history, almost what you'd call prehistory. You go way, way back, thousands and thousands of years. I'm extremely curious as to what was actually happening here on Earth 12,000, 15,000 years ago, long before there was civilization. So I read about stuff like that all the time, and I always have like a dozen books that I'm reading all simultaneously. And like I said the other day, I read a page here and a page there, and then it takes me years to ever actually finish a book. So let me share another one of the books that I'm in the process of reading here. And this kind of goes to the politics of things, since the name of the book is Political Tribes. Now this is by Amy Chua, or however you say that. It's probably not how you pronounce it. I guess it's Chinese, but if the name sounds familiar, Amy Chua, whatever it is, she is the one who wrote about the Tiger Mom. Remember that book 2-3 years ago? Tiger Mom? I never read it, but I guess it was like tough love for raising your teenagers or something. Anyway, but she's a very good writer. I didn't realize that she had so much to say. And this book here about political tribes, it's subtitled Group Instinct and the Fate of Nations. And I've always been interested in the fact that we as human beings in all these in our culture, particularly here in the West, and I think every culture around the world, we are extremely tribal, and it seems like we're becoming more so all the time. You ever notice that? And by that, what I'm talking about and what she talks about in this book, by being tribal, means that we retreat into groups of people that we like, that we relate to, people who are like us. And that's where we stay. And it seems like that's becoming more and more prevalent in our Western culture all the time. We're retreating into our tribes. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's racial. Sometimes it's political. Sometimes it's religious. But the more we retreat into those tribes, the more we have disdain for outsiders. And we make an effort to keep the outsiders out. And eventually what happens is things like closed-mindedness take over, nationalism, and so that's what we see on the political scene in the U.S. today, is overt tribalism. And I'm not too far into Amy's book there, but I've been interested to see what her take is on that, because I thought for a long, long time that that this tribalism was an interesting phenomenon. And it's not just here in the U.S. happening all over the world. I have a theory that it's partly a backlash to technology. Obviously, technology is a great thing. I wouldn't be able to sit here and do this stupid thing without technology. But there's a dark side to technology. In fact, there's a lot of dark sides to technology, which I'll get into sometime. I'm not a technophobe, but or a Luddite or anything, but there's a lot about technology and the way it's moving that scares me, and it, I think, is very closely associated to why we're retreating into our tribes. I think a lot of that is fear on the part of ordinary people of the unknown, fear of what's happening to our society vis-a-vis this technological wave that's going on. All right, so we'll learn more about tribes as I get into that book. I'll share some of it with you and see what she has to say. All right. I guess that's about time to wrap this thing up. And like I say, this is just a rehearsal for something that might actually be live if I can figure out how to do live. And then we could share music and all kinds of things. Last time I tried to share some music on this thing, my system crashed. So I'm going to try it right now. So if I suddenly go away, then that means this thing's crashed on me, all right? So can you hear that music? I guess I'm still here, so. All right, that's going to wrap it up. I'll take this thing out of here with one of my favorite old songs from the early 1970s. The group was called Air Supply. Remember this? I'm Lost in Love. Later, bye. Later, bye. Leave it too much to believe in. Bye.